Alright, now let's go on with the real party, part 3, multiple choice questions. Remember in IELTS listening, part 3, two type of questions are very common. Multiple choice, single or double. Double means out of 5, you select 2 options. And second type is matching, where there is a box, you've got to match it. And it's educational. Part 1 and part 2, they are social. Part 3 is educational. And mostly in part 3, there are 2 students who are discussing their education. Some topic which is educational topic, and 2 students are discussing about their presentation, about their dissertation, about their project. So, question number 21. Why do students think lucky eruption of 1783 is so important? Do you know what eruption is? Volcanoes, and volcanoes erupt lava, right? Whenever the fire comes out of volcanoes, that is called eruption, okay? So why do the students think lucky eruption of 1783 is so important? So you need to underline so important, lucky eruption, and then encircle why. And there are 3 possible reasons. 2 reasons are wrong, 1 reason is right. Option A, most severe eruption. That's it. Just underline most severe eruption. See, I made your life easier. You don't need to follow. It was the most severe eruption in modern times. Most severe eruption. That's it. It led to formal study of volcanoes. So led to study. Led to study means after that, people started studying volcanoes and why do they happen and all that. Option C, it had a profound effect on society. Just underline profound effect on society. Means on people. Profound effect means deep influence on people. So why lucky eruption is important? Out of 3 reasons, 1 is the right reason. Okay, please listen.
Part 3. You will hear 2 geography students, Adam and Michelle, talking about a volcanic eruption which took place in Iceland in 1783.
So, Michelle, shall we make a start on our presentation? We haven't got that much time left.
No, Adam, but at least we've done all the background reading. I found it really interesting. I'd never even heard of the Laki eruption before this.
Me neither. I suppose 1783 is a long time ago.
But it was a huge eruption, and it had such devastating consequences.
I know. It was great there were so many primary sources to look at. It really gives you a sense of how catastrophic the volcano was. People were really trying to make sense of the science for the first time.
That's right. But what I found more significant was how it impacted directly and indirectly on political events, as well as having massive social and economic consequences.
I know. That should be the main focus of our presentation.
That should be the main focus of our presentation. That is option C. Before that, they said okay, but that should be the main focus. Why do the students think lucky eruption is so important? For so important, they use the word. In the end, that should be the main focus. For so important, they use the word main focus. Okay. Now, let's just see why A and B are wrong. In multiple choice questions, unless you know why other options are wrong, you will never find your right answer. Okay. So.
Part 3.
Adam, but at least we've done all the background of the Laki eruption before this.
Me neither. I suppose 1783 is a long time ago.
But it was a huge eruption.
Okay, it was a huge eruption. Remember, huge does not mean most severe eruption. Most severe means in the history of mankind, that was the most severe one. They said huge eruption. Huge does not mean most severe, okay?
And it had such devastating consequences.
I know. It was great there were so many primary sources to look at. It really gives you a sense of how catastrophic the volcano was. People were really trying to make sense of the science for the first time.
Okay, people were trying to make sense of the science for first time. Led to formal study of volcanoes. No. People were making sense of science for the first time.
That's right. But what I found more significant was how it impacted directly and indirectly on political events.
Okay, what I found most important is directly, indirectly political events.
As well as having massive social and economic consequences.
Social and economic consequences. All these things are related to society. So profound effect on society. Okay, that's the right answer. Okay, let's try, Umar. Alright, now let's go on. Question number 22. What surprised Adam about observations made at the time? So, what surprised Adam? Underline what surprised Adam. Right, about observations made at that time. That time means 1783. Observations made at the time. Okay. Number of places producing them. So underline number of places. That means locations. Different locations. Option B, contradictions. Contradictions means one said something else, other said another thing. So they were contradictory things. And option C, lack of scientific data. So what surprised Adam? Out of three options, he will say, I wasn't expecting that. I didn't realize that. I was amazed to see that. Anything like that, okay? With one of the options.
The observations made by people at the time were interesting, weren't they? I mean, they all gave a pretty consistent account of what happened, even if they didn't always use the same terminology.
Yeah. I was surprised there were so many weather stations established by that time. So, you know, you can see how the weather changed often by the hour.
Right.
I was surprised at the number of weather stations. Number of weather stations means number of places producing them. And he said, I was surprised. Very simple. When they use the name of a person, then you don't listen to the other person. Whatever lady was speaking, you are not interested. Whatever Adam said, because question says, what surprised Adam? So Adam will tell us what surprised him. And he said, I was surprised. Just focus this sentence, please.
The observations made account of what happened use the same terminology.
Yeah. I was surprised there were so many weather stations.
I was surprised there were so many weather stations. So that is number of places producing them. Question number 23. According to Michelle, that lady is Michelle, what did contemporary sources say about Lucky haze? Now, haze is the sort of ash that we get from there. So, according to Michelle, what did the contemporary source say? Contemporary means the sources of that time. Contemporary, okay? What do they say? People thought it was similar to ordinary fog. Okay, haze is like fog. Like we call it smog now, right? So, similar to ordinary fog. Underline option A, similar to ordinary fog. It was associated with health issues. Underline associated health issues. Like smog is associated with health issues. And option C, completely blocked out the sun for weeks. So, completely blocked out sun means people could not see the sun. Like in winter, when we have clouds, we don't see the sun. So out of three, according to Michelle, what did contemporary sources say about Lucky haze? Haze is that smog. Okay, what do they say about it? Similar to ordinary fog. Option B, they had some health issues with this fog. And option C, it blocked the sun. Like people were unable to see sun for many days, like that.
Writers at the time talked about the Lucky haze to describe the volcanic fog that spread across Europe. They all realised that this wasn't the sort of fog they were used to. And, of course, this was in pre-industrial times, so they hadn't experienced sulphur-smelling fog before.
No, that's true.
Reports from the period blamed the haze for an increase in headaches, respiratory issues and asthma attacks. And they all describe how it covered the sun and made it look a strange red colour.
See that? They talked about sun, they talked about asthma, respiratory diseases and all that. So what's the right answer? Right answer is option B. And now I tell you why A and C, they are wrong. Only then you will understand that, okay? Let's see.
Writers at the time talked about the Larky Haze to describe the volcanic fog that spread across Europe. They all realised that this wasn't the sort of fog they were used to.
They all realized that this wasn't the sort of fog that they were used to. So people thought it was similar. No, it was not similar, right? A is wrong option. Now we move on.
And, of course, this was in pre-industrial times, so they hadn't experienced sulphur-smelling fog before.
No, that's true.
Reports from the period blamed the haze for an increase in headaches, respiratory issues,
Okay, increase in headaches, respiratory issues,
and asthma attack.
and asthma attack. These are health issues. Okay, B is the right answer. Now let's see why C is wrong. They said completely blocked out the sun. Yeah, no, it didn't happen.
And they all describe how it covered the sun and made it look a strange red colour.
It all covered the sun and made it look strange in red color. Sun was visible, but the color of sun was red. Okay, so completely blocked, no. It changed the color of the sun and sun was visible. This is how they play. Yeah, dil mein gaaliyan nikal lein do char. No problem. Okay. All right. Now we've got 24 and then 25, 26. See, part 3 is for multiple choice questions. Question number 24. Adam corrects Michelle. Now Michelle will say something and Adam will correct. Okay, now Michelle will say, hello John. And he say, excuse me Michelle, my name is not John, I am Adam. This is how. She will say something out of 3 options. One option Michelle will say wrongly and Adam will correct her. That is the right answer. Adam correct Michelle when she claims that Benjamin Franklin. Now subject is Benjamin Franklin. Now Michelle will say something about Benjamin Franklin and Adam will say, no, that's not true. The right one is this. That is your answer. Option A, wrong conclusion about the cause of haze. So underline wrong conclusion, cause of haze. And you know haze is that smog. Option B, first to identify the reason. Underline first to identify. And option C, supported the opinion of other observers about the haze. Supported opinions, other observers. Okay. Now, where does Adam correct Michelle? That will be your right answer.
Must have been very weird.
It's interesting that Benjamin Franklin wrote about the haze. Did you read that? He was the American ambassador in Paris at the time.
Yeah. At first, no one realised that the haze was caused by the volcanic eruption in Iceland.
It was Benjamin Franklin who realised that before anyone else.
He's often credited with that, apparently. But a French naturalist beat him to it. I can't remember his name. I'd have to look it up. Then other naturalists had the same idea, all independently of each other.
Oh, right.
Oh, right. She said Benjamin Franklin was the first one. And he said, no, there was another naturalist. Which option is that? Option B was the first to identify the reason for haze. Now, Michelle says Benjamin Franklin was the first one. But then he says, no, it was not Benjamin Franklin. It was another French naturalist. So, correct answer is option B. Now, questions 25 and 26. Which 2 issues, underline 2 issues, following the Laki eruption surprised the students? So 2 issues following eruption. Following means after the eruption, there were 2 issues and again surprised. Now out of 5 issues, 3 issues they were expecting. They were not surprised about that. But 2 issues, they would be surprised. Okay. Widespread effect. Underline option A, widespread effects. Mean the effects were widespread. They were, in different parts of the world. Option B, long-lasting effects. Means effects continued for 20 years. Like the effects of Hiroshima, Nagasaki atomic bomb, they were long-lasting. So if the effects of volcanic eruption, they continued for years, that means long-lasting. Option C, number of deaths If they were surprised about number of deaths, right? Thousands of people were killed. And they'll say, do you know it killed more than 1 million of people? Oh, really? Surprising, right? If they say it killed millions of people, they are not surprised. That's not your answer. Speed at which the volcanic ash cloud spread. So speed, volcanic ash cloud. The speed of the cloud, if that surprised them, that's the D option. Option E, how people ignored the warning signs. People ignored warning signs. They gave warning signs and people said nothing will happen. It's okay. Like that. Okay. Now 2 things out of 5 surprised both of them. Yeah, the students.
We should talk about the immediate impact of the eruption, which was obviously enormous, especially in Iceland where so many people died.
You'd expect that, and the fact that the volcanic ash drifted so swiftly, but not that the effects would go on for so long, or that 2 years after the eruption, strange weather events were being reported as far away as North America and North Africa.
No, I found all that hard to believe too. It must have been terrible, and there was nothing anyone could do about it, even if they knew the ash cloud was coming in their direction.
See that? She showed surprised for 2 options, and those 2 options are exactly, they are A and B. Please listen to it again. Surprised.
We should talk about the immediate impact of the eruption, which was obviously enormous, especially in Iceland where so many people died.
Iceland where so many people died, and she's saying it very comfortably. She doesn't seem to be surprised. She said in Iceland where so many people died. So number of deaths it caused. Surprised? No, it is not surprising for them, right? Now, let's move on.
You'd expect that, and the fact that...
Yeah, you would expect that. When he said you would expect that, it means it is not surprising.
You'd expect that, and the fact that the volcanic ash drifted so swiftly, but not that the...
Okay, volcanic ash drifted so swiftly. They're not talking about cloud. They're talking about ash, right?
effects would go on for so long, or that 2 years after the eruption...
Okay, effects would go on so long. 2 years after the eruption. Which option is that? B. Long-lasting the effects. For long-lasting, they use the word 2 years after the eruption. So first right answer is B.
Strange weather events were being reported as far away as North America.
As far away as North America. What does it mean? Widespread. For widespread, they use the word as far away as North America. So far away, widespread, and long-lasting 2 years. Correct answers are A and B. Okay? On your answer sheet, you will write these two answers like 25A and 26B. Should write them like this. Right?